All right. I invited a friendly little guest this morning. He might be next door in your office. So, is he here? I can't see how you can see. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Raylan. I need the youngin to help me over here.
Whoever's on here is iPhone. I appreciate that it's labeled as iPhone 69.
That must be the one. Wonder if he doesn't know how to get it off of mute. Oh. Well, we need to get going. See if he's on here or not. Can you see the number on that iPhone 69?
No, that's all it says is iPhone 69.
You on? You on? I knew it was you. Are you in the office? No. Brandy, would you walk over to Todd's office and show him how to get it off mute?
Oh my gosh.
I'm asking him to unmute, but I don't know if it's working. Yeah, I'll go over there. Hold on, Todd.
Todd, I think it makes it better that you're iPhone 69. So.
It is. That's why I'm laughing so hard. I was like, I knew it.
I must have got all the tech skills in the family.
Okay, well, he's gonna come in with a story as soon as Brandy saves the day here.
Olds and technology.
I wish I could get a picture of Lonnie on that one.
Becca left too, so somebody's saving Todd.
That's funny.
Okay, everybody behave. The fire department's here inspecting us.
Oh, the fire department's there inspecting.
They heard Southland was on fire, and they didn't know what that meant.
Sure. Exactly.
Okay. And then
Need a master key?
hold on. I'm gonna swipe you the other way.
Morning, Tom.
Well, Becca's helping him. If she can't help,
Well, then he's gonna have to come.
hold on.
He's gonna have to come into your office, is what he's.
He will. He can come right in here.
He was unmuted for a second.
Oh, he's unmuted now.
Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me? But my video is not on.
Yeah.
All right, we can hear you.
Why is the video?
Okay.
What'd you do? You
What
broke
did
it.
I do? I didn't do anything.
So Todd's
I'm able
gonna
to access camera. It just doesn't like me.
Todd, can you hear me?
Oh.
I should have came into the office today.
Yeah, come in.
So, okay, so I'll start
right.
what we were going to talk about today. And I know.
Oh, there was Todd's face for a second.
Oh, it could be so
there he is.
There you go. You're on mute though. You can teach an old dog new tricks, can't we?
My God. There we go. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, Todd's on here. Hey.
So I was thinking yesterday, I was like, what can we talk about that we haven't talked about in a while? Because, we're on here on Thursdays, right? And I was thinking about like investing in yourself and like how the market is right now and just kind of some of the experiences that I've been going through. And I honestly think, I've watched some of the market prices and things are down right now from where they were in COVID times, right? I've got some clients that are selling and they're selling for less than they bought it 4 years ago on some of them, not all of them. I shouldn't say 4 years ago, 2 years ago. I just had one in Silver Lake that they had paid, I don't know, 30 or 40,000 over asking, and then they had to sell it for a little less than what they had purchased it for, but that's okay. So talking about investing in yourself, like what with a market like this, what can you be doing to be thinking about your financial future, right? Like what can we be doing to think about retirement and things like that? So I have found, as many of you probably as well, that investing in yourself and buying these properties right now are a good plan of action that can lead to an amazing retirement plan. So I asked Todd if he'd be interested in coming and talking about something that we don't get to talk about a whole lot, but I thought it was very helpful. I utilize these all the time when I'm purchasing properties. and they are either between a bank statement loan, right? Because I like to make for sure that my taxes, or like that whenever I'm turning in all my tax stuff, that I don't make very much money, right? So,
All that cheating, Rusty.
No, it's called using legal loopholes.
Tax strategy.
It's a tax strategy plan of action, and they put the rules out there. I'm just following them.
I love it.
So, and then we also have the DSCR programs too. So, I wanted Todd to talk a little bit about both programs, and I think we'll probably lie a little heavier on the bank statement loans. But I think this would be really good for you guys to consider as you're going through this year and strategizing even for next year. Because I like to try to buy at least one house a year. So, Todd, first of all,
Cool.
start us off with why your phone says iPhone 69.
iPhone 69. Well, it's called, I got an iPhone. Our whole family about 15 years ago went to Apple. And my teenage son thought it would be funny to name my iPhone 69 because he's a hoodlum. And I never really understood it until I started seeing it. And I'm like, oh my God, how embarrassing. So I'm iPhone 69 until somebody with technology shows me how to change that. So we'll leave it at that. That's the story. Okay, so two things I wanted to talk. Rusty asked me to talk about two things. One is called a DSCR. D as in dog, S as in Sam, C as in cat, R as in radio. Okay, DSCR stands for. Does anybody know what it stands for? Debt Service Coverage Ratio. It's basically a loan program, like Rusty said. Our tax returns don't always show our true income, right? Self-employed people tend to have a high gross income and a lot lower net income. So the DSCR program is really designed for rental property. It's not designed for your house you're going to live in. It's designed for investment property, and it probably caters more to people who are going to do a short-term rental or a Airbnb kind of scenario where you're going to rent it out. The DSCR is the debt service coverage ratio. Just means like net operating income over total debt service. So if you were to draw that out, you'd write net operating income line divided by total debt. So what that means is the lender's going to look for the income that the property produces divided by what it costs to own. And if you have a high enough formula, they don't look at anything else. So they're totally looking at what the property is going to generate. So for instance, write down this 1.2 to 1.25 is considered to be the ratio that a bank likes. So in other words, if you bought a rental property, and let's say it rented for $3,000 a month, but your total payment, including HOA, all the things they put in there, is $2,400. Take 3,000 over 2,400, and you would have roughly what 1.25. I think is that 3,000 divided by 2,400 is 1.25. So ideally, that is the sweet spot for a lender in a situation like that, where they would disregard your actual net income from your tax returns that none of us really want to show. Instead, they would look at what the property you're purchasing and how it produces historically. And of course, they don't just take your word for it that it rents for $3,000 a month. They have, they do an appraisal. The appraiser does a rent analysis, researches it to get that. If you buy a property that's short-term rental, like an Airbnb, you're going to have pages and pages of that history that they can pull up and look at. Does anybody have any questions on just the nuts and bolts of the program? Okay. Does that make sense? So we're really looking at it not in the form of you and I as the borrower. We're looking at how the property is going to pay us, and that's what the bank's looking at, is how safe is it. Now, what are some advantages of the DSCR? Well, no tax returns right off the bat. They do want a down payment, and the stronger the down payment, the lower that 1.25 could be, more like 1.2. They might want you to put more down to lower their risk. Okay. The rate tends to be about 0.5% to 1% above normal market. simply because you're going to do a loan that does not conform to the rules. It's not a Fannie Freddie loan. It's not a FHA, VA, or USDA loan. This is literally stepping out into a the term we use is non-conforming. It just doesn't conform to the normal rules. But it could offer opportunities for you guys when you're out there looking, either have clients that are looking or you guys are looking for rental property. Okay. You do
So
have to have a
Todd,
decent credit score. Go
I
ahead.
have a question. So is that
Yeah.
a loan that you guys can do?
Yeah.
Can you
DSCR.
do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We do them. We do them here. We underwrite for the
Okay.
investor that does them in house.
Okay.
So what I do is because we're not in a real high vacation area or things like that. I'm going to have loan officers around the country that are way better at this than me, and because they might do 5 a month. You know what I mean? So, likewise, if somebody has acreage and they're buying in Kansas City, they might yield to me. You know what I mean? They might go, hey, you're kind of the rural guy. We all have our strengths, but we have a lot of people that we can lean on
Okay.
for the expertise. We have that.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah, so we do. But DSCR is literally investment property only. It does look at the cash flow of the monthly cash flow from the rental property, and it is a fantastic product for people who have decent credit, have a decent down payment, but they just don't show the income on paper. And yeah. No, go ahead.
So ask a question. So a lot of times when we come across these properties, we're getting a good deal on them because they're underperforming properties as where they're at. So let's just say that I buy the property and the rent history shows that it brings in $2,000 a month, but I know the potential with a little bit of work, it's going to bring in $3,000 a month. So how are you taking those factors into consideration? Right.
Yeah, you're going to go off of the history of the property more so than the future. So it may have some drawbacks. You might have to have a little bit stronger down payment to get yourself to that 1.2, 1.25 ratio. I see what you're saying, though. It's a good point. But you guys can sometimes you find those underperforming properties. But I think it's the history, and an appraiser's they're going to ask the appraiser to do rent analysis, things like that. It's kind of like buying a property where it's been under rented. Hang on a second, guys. Sorry, the fire department's here. Do you need me for anything? Just looking around. Okay, I don't have any space heaters. We don't have anything like that. Good. All right, help yourself. So I totally lost my train of thought. But you guys sometimes will have those underperforming properties, and an appraiser is going to look at market rents and look at things like that as the basis for their, how they calculate all that. They're going to go, hey, this is what, 8 of these rental properties, this is what their similar properties, this is what they rent for. And the lender's going to lean on that, the history, more so than what the potential, I think, is, Tom. Might have to increase the down payment. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you, Todd.
Mm-hmm. All right. Any other questions on DSCR? Debt service coverage ratio. When you see those letters, just Google it, look it up. I did a lot of AI on it, and I learned more on that than I probably did having done one. So, all right. Second loan program, Rusty. This is one that we use more than DSCR because it's really designed for not only owner occupied but also non-owner occupied property, and that's the bank statement program. Okay. So the bank, I'm old school, so I don't veer off of the conforming world a lot. Because quite frankly, we can figure it out on the conforming side a lot. But in the bank statement program, also designed for people who don't typically show their true income. They show, their net income is not their gross income. So perfect example. The lender we have different programs for bank statement programs, but essentially we're going to take a look back of the last 12 months of their business bank statements or 24 months, depending upon the program. We have both 12 months, 24 months. And we're going to look at their business deposits and we're going to look at that, and we're going to come up with an income that is their basically their deposits is their gross income for them. We use a formula, so we don't take it all, but a strong formula based upon they take out a few things, like they figure there's going to be some carrying costs, expenses for their business, etc. But if they use say 75% of their deposits, then they divide that by 12, and that's monthly income. Okay, so I had a loan last month that closed within the net, and the guy's self-employed, and I made an error on the tax returns. I know you're shocked. And it got the underwriter came back and said, yeah, they don't qualify. And so needless to say, we had to pivot pretty quickly to something else. And I already knew that his business deposits were strong. When you have a gross income of $1.2 million, but you have a net income of 38,000, that's a problem, right? So in my situation, do you need me to sign anything? Okay. Thank you. We good? Thank you. All right. I took his bank statements and I said, give me 12 months. And he got me 12 months bank statements within literally 10 minutes. We got him. I looked at all of his deposits. He's showing over $1 million a year. We did a 12-month program, and we were able to do 10% down. Now, no PMI. And so his interest rate was around 0.5 to 1% higher, but he didn't have PMI. So in the whole scheme of things, he was able to do 10% down, no PMI. Underwriters took it. They did their formula on it, and he went from making, $5,000 something a month on his tax returns to $55,000 a month. Needless to say, he qualified fine at that point, right? So we flipped it, and we closed the whole loan in 12 days. So, but going in, if you got somebody self-employed, they have a good business, they just, like most of us, they don't show a lot of income. It's another good opportunity, but it's truly, they're looking at their actual deposits. And they had a question he had a large deposit over $100,000 from one of his suppliers, and they made me document what that was. They're like, hey, let's just confirm this. So it isn't like it's just carte blanche. Every deposit is business related, but they took that. We documented the one large deposit, showed him what it was. Underwriter's like, cool. And it was over $1 million in deposits. And then after their formula of taking out a little bit of debt, expenses, the guy's showing $55,000 a month in actual income. So again, no tax return, changed the program. Interest rate was a little bit higher, but no PMI. At the end of the day, we saved a loan, closed it, $650,000, something like that. Mm-hmm. So the bank statement program is fantastic. If going in that this guy's, how many times have you guys worked with clients that you go, hey, they have a great business, but at the end of the day, they go, well, I don't really show a lot of income on paper. This may be a good option to look at. And I would highly recommend that before you even find a house, you let us take the bank statements and let me throw them into underwriting, and they'll pre-underwrite that income so that we know going in where we're at. But the minimum down payment on bank statement program is 10%. The minimum down payment on DSCR is 20%. So you do have to have some money. If any of us were in the business back 20, 25 years ago, when we started looking at alternative non-conforming programs, we had stated income. You remember that, where you just would say, hey, they make this much per month? Well, those loan programs morphed from strong down payment and good credit to no down payment and terrible credit. Well, those are not this loan. These loans are designed for credit integrity and designed for some strong down payment to offset some of the risk. But they're great. They're great products. And if you can get pre-approved ahead of time, before they go find the house, smart move. And the 24-month bank statement program probably has a little bit better rate than the 12, because they're taking a longer look back of the income. So anyway, both of those are good options. If you're interested in that for yourself, or for one of your clients, let me look at it, and we can, like I said, we can pre-underwrite it before you find your house. And it's a smart move. It's just like getting pre-approved on anything else. Just going to get outside of the box. And surprisingly, when you have a client that has a bigger down payment and all that and good credit, but they just don't show a lot of income, this might be the, hey, let's get pre-approved on the bank statement program. And they're ready to go, sell their house, get their equity and go. It's just another tool, right, for you guys to have.
Yeah. And that was the point of this today, is to talk about that, to be able to let everyone know that, you are going to have these challenging clients that, don't show much income. And then us ourselves, if we're doing our thing, if we're utilizing and tax strategizing correctly, we too will be in that same boat. And we need to utilize those programs that are out there.
Yeah. And the more success those loan programs have, the more programs will come out. Because it's, if you've lived through the near collapse of the mortgage industry in 06, 07, 08, it's because 10 years earlier we started taking programs that were pretty fundamentally strong and changing them. And I just don't see that happening. I mean, we'll see a little bit of leniency on different things, but the down payment piece, I hope it doesn't go back to zero. I hope we don't see that kind of stuff, because that was the perfect storm that led us into some of the disaster from, like I said, 06 to about 08, 09. And it took a couple years to filter through all those homes. And Lonnie, I know Lonnie remembers the day and that, 75% of all sales were short sales or foreclosures. We don't want that again. And so these are designed with good integrity and all that. So good options, possibilities. Just get your people pre-approved. If you know somebody's self-employed that shows strong, deposits, company's doing great, but at the end of the day, they got a good accountant and they write their income off. This could be definitely both those programs can be pretty good.
And this isn't just things that are discussed, a lot. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of this for not only your clients, but for yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, Todd,
Yeah.
can I throw another question at you here? I have
Sure.
a couple of properties, one on the market, one coming on the market, where there's an opportunity to own. One's a small acreage property, one's a little bit bigger, but there's an opportunity to buy a home and to run a business off of the property. They're both set up to where you can do that. So I know at some point I was talking to somebody and they were kind of rambling off, oh yeah, you could get this loan for the house and a small business loan for the other part of the property. I mean, is that really a thing? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, we primarily do, single family dwellings, multifamily dwellings. So when you start putting businesses into the mix, you're a mixed use kind of scenario, you're probably going to lean back toward a bank, where a bank doesn't have the same Fannie Freddie conforming guidelines that we do. I would have to do a little research on that particular case for you, Tom, but
Okay.
outside of my wheelhouse, but certainly within the ability to make some calls, I would just top of my head, I'd go, that screams Country Club Bank, because anything that steps outside of the mortgage world, I would, probably lean toward, hey, let's talk to the bank about it, just because they look at things differently than we do in a situation like that.
Perfect.
Cool. All right. Anybody else? I'm more than happy to answer anything, and I know you guys don't have all day, so anything you guys need from me, please let me know.
Shelby's getting ready to ask a question.
Oh, what do you got?
You're still on mute, baby.
Sorry. I was like, how do I get that thing to click? Question. I know you've talked about this. Can you go over the 203K loan again?
Oh, sure. 203K is a renovation loan, meaning that they're going to do some repairs on the house. Okay. So the 203K is FHA's version of the program. It just so happens to be you can put 3.5% down. It's an FHA loan. Okay. But you're going to be able to finance in the repairs. That's the goal of the renovation product. So you buy a house for $200,000, you've got $30,000 worth of repairs or improvements, and it's worth $250,000, something like that. We can certainly do that. And you don't have to stick with 203K. FHA, that's their version. Conventional has their version. VA has a version. USDA has a version. So there are other options in other areas for the renovation piece. You don't have to have a huge amount of renovation. Different programs allow for different amounts. But the 203K is probably the most common because it is FHA. FHA insured, get a decent rate still. Yeah. But all good renovations, all good products. If you guys run into a house that needs some loving, we've done renovation, and I've mentioned this in your meetings. We've done renovation for $20,000, and it was all cosmetic because the house was discounted so much because it needed cosmetic work. And we did, we updated the kitchen and we painted this and we did that. And yeah, so they're definitely out there, and they're good products, and we do them all. At Fairway, it's actually, I think we're either number 1 or number 2 in renovation across the country. But when the market's hot, people aren't thinking renovation. But when you guys get the right kind of listing, just we market it as renovation. I have renovation flyers that you could put in the house that'll have put your picture on. We can co-market it together and put it in your listing. So we can do all kinds of stuff, and we're actually pretty good at it. I did 5 of them in a 3-month period of time, and I thought I was an expert. So bring them. If you want me to look at something for renovation, shoot me the listing. We'll take a look and see if that sounds like it's a good fit. Yeah, more than happy to do it.
Are those for owner occupied only?
Yeah, they are right now. There used to be variances where you could do a non-owner occupied renos. We may have a few in the pipeline that we could get some exceptions on, but for the most part, I'd say 99% are going to be owner occupied. Yeah.
Todd, if you think
there's always exceptions.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Todd, if you think about it, let's just say you had a first-time home buyer buying a $300,000 house in Belton or Raymore, and the average $300,000 house maybe has, 10-year-old furnace and, 10-year-old appliances or whatever, just a good solid house, but not everything's been updated. I would rather find them the rough one for 240, 250 that needs 50,000 in reno, where they're now going to be spending about the same amount of money, but the $300,000 house is going to have brand new heating, cooling, appliances, all those things, roof. So they're getting a start into a house built in the 70s or 80s with all new big ticket items. That's actually a much better way to get started than what we typically see. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, I know
a Bell Ray special.
Brandy just had a listing in Silver Lake. It would have been perfect for a 203K. Good solid bones and all that, but it could use about a 40 grand, 50 grand to be just amazing. But again, I don't think our industry understands the program. We do a bad job when we get those listings of marketing them that way. Instead, we think it has to go to an investor and all that. It can actually be perfect for an owner-occupant borrower.
Yeah. I mean, Lonnie, you and I did one in Belton a couple years ago, and it was just an old little house, but it needed it needed some fundamental changes that were going to be sizable. I think we had a $22,000 redo of a kitchen, a bathroom. We redid several things in the house and, fixed the roof, did some repair. And these kids then that bought it were in their early 20s. They don't have the money to hit that big ticket item. And we took that out of play, and that was nice. And it was a perfect product for them. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I would rather see a couple that doesn't want to get hit with a $10,000 HVAC issue. Maybe we can put it in the house, into the renovation of it. It doesn't have to be massive. In fact, they don't really want it to be massive. They don't want you to move walls and do all that kind of stuff. They really want you just to fix the house and put it back the way it was, and by putting the new stuff in it. That's kind of how the programs are designed.
So Todd, on a renovation loan, can it be on an offer that is contingent?
Can it be on an offer that's contingent?
Like they have to sell their house?
Well, I mean, it's
renovations done post-closing.
Yeah. Good point. So I meant to say that a minute ago, Lonnie, when you were talking about it. You basically, on Lonnie's scenario, you buy a house at 240, you close at 240. But we on the side have done a contractor. You've done your own contractor. We've put it all together for $50,000 worth of reno. The final loan amount might be closer to 290. but it closes at the 240 and commissions are paid out, sellers are paid out, liens are paid off. And then this money is set aside into a secondary little bucket. And then as the work is done, it's paid out to the contractors.
Oh,
It's
that's
really, it's a
awesome.
cool deal. And it gets closed quicker and you don't have to wait for the final renovation piece to be done. FHA likes to see it get done within 6 months. Most everything wants it to get done pretty timely because they obviously don't want to sit there. The buyer does make payments on it and let some of the big massive renos, you can put the payments for 6 months in the renovation. Now it gets complex like that, but we'd want to go over all that. Don't promise that to your buyer, but so there are some products out there, the 203K, when you have big items, that are, a lot of things going to be done to it where you might even be able to finance in a handful of payments. Cool.
That's I learned something new today. I didn't know that it
Yeah.
closed at what the offer price is, not what the reno price is.
That's correct. Yeah, because the renovation is completely separate. You guys actually write your contract just like you would the regular contract. So in Lonnie's scenario,
And that would
the
go in as the
240,
FHA.
yeah, it's FHA loan. The 203K is.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes you guys get caught up in all the FHA, like the listing agents be like, "Oh, this house will never go FHA. It'll never do that because of the repairs." Let's talk renovation. I mean, we had one that had a foundation issue. Fixed it. We had one that needed a basement finish. We did complete basement finish in the renovation. So now a family that was going to buy a little ranch had a full basement with a bedroom, bathroom, everything finished off for 40 grand in the basement. All of a sudden, now they got a house that they can live in as a family, and expand it with their kids and whatnot that they couldn't before because the basement wasn't finished. So lots of cool ideas, guys. And I did a class on this a couple years ago. I think I may have done 2. I'm more than happy to sit down and, do a little lunch and learn on it again. But when the market gets hot and it gets real frothy for you guys, these programs kind of get on the back burner because we're like, hey, we're moving and grooving on other products. When things slow down, we tend to start thinking more about renovation. But when you run across these houses that you've discounted them deeply because of, they got avocado green countertops and they're dated, one option is the renovation might be a fantastic option for people that don't have a ton of cash. Maybe they can go that route and put 3.5% down, go FHA and just finance in the renovation. Yeah. Cool. Good products, guys. Reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to help you guys. Tom, I can find that flyer and get it to you.
Yeah, that's cool that's an option. Yeah, I learned something new on
Yeah.
that. Has anybody ever done one of these loans? What your experience was?
Which one?
The 203 or a bank statement?
Yeah. I just did the bank statement loan the other day. So that was my first bank statement product. And it was just so clean. I'm like, why didn't I go that route to start with? Then the 203K, I've probably done 2 or 3 203Ks, but several conventional renovation. Fannie and Freddie have a program, pretty doggone easy, minimum down payment 5%. Same kind of thing applies. We just want to look at it and see which one's better product. FHA's got some unique idiosyncrasies that conventional doesn't. When you get too far up in the repairs, FHA starts to make you hire a consultant that'll be a project engineer for everything. I think it's 70,000 or higher on the renovation now, where you have to have a consultant. And sometimes people don't like that. But when you get into renovation, very important to know this: you cannot do the work yourself. They absolutely require a contracted, licensed, and insured contractor, somebody who's legit. So it can't be me swinging a hammer doing my own renovation. It's going to have to be a legit company, and we set up a payment plan with them that they get their draws as these items are being done. It's all 100% legit, but it's a great product. And sometimes people go, "I'm going to buy this fixer upper because I can do the work." That isn't how this is designed. Figure out how to get a contractor that you can, that you can help or something. But it'll be, they get a W-9, they get, at the end of the day, they get I think they get a 1099 for the amount. And so they would need to be legitimate business people that would know how to bill that out correctly and stuff, when they do their own taxes.
Todd, I just changed, because of this call, I just changed the marketing on one of my listings. I've got this little turd on 7 Highway, small acreage. The deck's basically falling off. It's in pre-foreclosure, but everybody's like, I don't think it'll go FHA, and I keep getting sick of that answer. But I wasn't even thinking about marketing as, hey, 203K rehab loan, see listing agent for details. So now I just flip the marketing on it, and to me, that just opens up a great conversation and another path to get this sold.
Yeah, and there's several people. Jake Keith has a contractor buddy that does 203Ks and does renovation. So lean on your guys' resources. Your office is amazing with those resources that people know what they're doing. And if you know a contractor that can put the whole thing together, the renovation departments love one major general contractor to kind of handle everything. And the GC can always go like, hey, yeah, I've hired ABC Roofing and I've hired, this HVAC company because that's their niches and their expertise, but they're going to oversee the whole project. And that's exactly what they want. They would really like to have one person oversee it, make sure everybody gets paid, all that.
And you're a general contractor.
Are you guys general contractor for that?
Yeah, we are. We can build a bridge over the Missouri River if we had to.
Hey, Todd, what is the limit? What is the limit loan amount on an FHA loan? What's the highest you can go?
I think it just changed for this year. It's like 536 something.
Okay.
I'd have to Google it. Yeah. Because it did. It's now above 500. I always tell people it was 89,350 when I got in the business. So things have changed.
Yeah, Todd, from an agent standpoint too, if you're the listing agent, first of all, this closes like every other deal.
Yeah.
The deal closes, your seller moves on, and they're done. From a buyer's agent standpoint, let the lender figure out how it works. But at the end of the day, you get paid at closing. The buyer works with their contractor and the lender. You're out of that too. So we need to have less fear about these kind of programs and figure out how to put deals together. We got all these people chasing 300 to 350 houses in Raymore, Peculiar, Belton, fighting each other for the best ones. And it's like, maybe we should be chasing the turds. Chase the one that's $60,000 or $70,000 less. It needs so much work. Let's get that one, and let's start our life in that house with all new stuff. I know if my kid was buying a house and wanting to spend $250,000, $300,000, I know that would be a much better long-term plan to buy the one that needs all those things. Then they're starting with basically new. And if you're a young kid buying your first house saying, hey, I'm going to live here for a year or two, and then I'm going to keep it as a rental, which is how I always think, wouldn't that be a better rental too if it's got all those things updated as you launch?
Yeah. I did a renovation on a duplex where they bought the whole duplex, both sides, and they're going to live in one half. And we did that as renovation. So they basically fixed up a future rental property. Yeah. And they used the financing to do it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Lonnie, I showed the turd last week to some buyers. Now, Todd, if we did that and we bought the turd, how does that work with like the home light program and the 21-day to get the other house on the market and then sell within 120 days? Does all that reno got to be done? They got to be moved out of their house in order to get all this going?
Let me think. The home light program, switching gears to home light, is the guaranteed sale piece or the bridge loan piece. So they're different animals. Could we incorporate a renovation into one of those? I don't know. That'd be an interesting concept to sit down and try to figure out if those could go together. I mean, the home light, the whole situation with the home light is it's allowing you to not have to qualify for using the current house So like your departing residents, you're not having to count the house against them. But I could see where, let's say it's a challenging home and nobody really wants to do it. But the problem with HomeLight is, as you and I know, they do a home inspection and they want the house to be pretty fixed, pretty fixed and certainly working. So I kind of don't know if there's a way to do that if they think that they're going to buy the house. You know what I mean? Like if they're going to buy it. So Tony, as I'm walking myself through this, I would say that probably doesn't work together. Tony and I have a home light deal going that's going to close next week, and we did a home inspection on the house, and he had some roof shingles get blown off in a storm, and he had a little bit of mold in the downstairs bathroom. So both of those had to be repaired prior to closing, based upon the inspection. So I'm going to say, Tony, I don't think we could probably figure those out as a package.
Okay, and even if we did, how does the short sale side of Lonnie's turd, how does that work? How does the bank accept something like that?
I mean, from my standpoint,
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to look at the contract, and as long as it meets their numbers and the closing date and all that, I mean, that's what they look at. They don't care what type of loan you're getting.
Okay.
Yeah, keep in mind it closes like normal. So if you wrote we're going to ask you on renovation to give us, 30 days, because there is a little bit there's behind the scenes stuff, and you have a contractor. Lonnie and I did one time, and it was like the contractor took 2 weeks to even get their paperwork together. Well, that put us back 2 weeks, right? So it's really, everybody's got to be able to function and work together on that, in my opinion.
But Lonnie's bank that's carrying the existing note that's in pre-foreclosure, though, they don't care about the renovation loan. They just care about getting the dollar that you agreed to on that pre-foreclosure. Right. So whether it's a renovation or not, they don't care after that. Yeah. I have a question, Todd. If I've got an FHA buyer and we like a house, it probably would be a good candidate for a 203K loan. It currently does not qualify for FHA, but is that house a possibility for us because we could make it FHA compliant through part of the renovation?
100%. That's exactly what I would tell you to do. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yep. I mean, that's part of the 203K is they look at the appraisal, and if the appraiser recommends FHA conditions, they got to be done. So there's no just roof and, paint the house and all this stuff, all the fun things. They're going to maybe make you have to do certain things based upon if the appraiser FHA conditions for it. You got to add it in. So you may not have that in your original bid. And I've done this. All of a sudden, FHA comes back with 5 or 6 little nitpicky things. Guess what? We had to add into the bid. The contractor gets it. They make the changes. We go back into the renovation department and say, hey, we've added, $4,200 worth of changes that are FHA repairs. They add it right in. Yeah.
Okay.
Can be done.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, Todd, circling to the 203K loan, I always equate that to an FHA loan. Is there a conventional version of that same loan?
Yep.
Okay.
Both conventional Fannie and Freddie have them. VA has one. USDA has one. Okay. They all are putting their toes in the water of renovation. And VA and FHA are the two that most people think of because they're the two that people kind of think that they're the most particular about the condition of the home. And so, we've all seen the listing that says cash conventional. Really, like Lonnie pointed out earlier, what about renovation? And most agents they're not knowledgeable enough. So if you needed me to call the listing agent to explain the positives, if your buyer was a renovation buyer, by all means, I'm happy to do it. That they can understand that it's not, it's going to sell for what it sells for. And then behind the scenes, we're going to do all the renovation numbers and stuff with the renovation department that has nothing to do with the listing agent anymore. And it closes like normal. And then everybody gets paid. And then they start doing the work. Contractor gets after it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Because the listing agent, if they're not knowledgeable of this product, then they're going to advise their clients, hey, we don't want
That's
to
right.
because
Yeah.
we're going to get all these check marks of why we can't close. So, that's not the route we want to go down. But if we're able to school them, then that will enlighten everybody and hopefully get a deal together.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another possibility. And I always look at renovation as like somebody who doesn't have a ton of money. Like if somebody's going to close on their sale of their home and they're buying a house that needs work and they got $100,000 to work with from their equity, well, they don't probably need a renovation loan. But a first-time home buyer or second-time home buyer that doesn't have a ton of liquidity, it, like Lonnie said, I mean, let's finance in the big items that nobody wants to have to get hit with 2-3 years from now. Let's get them all redone. I painted the inside of a house for an older couple. Jake moved a downstairs laundry room up to the main floor for his elderly clients. Worked perfect, and so we did that in the renovation. Otherwise, is Jake on this call? I think I saw his name.
I don't think so.
When Jake did that, these people all of a sudden could buy out. They love the house. They just couldn't go down the stairs to do their laundry. A little shift, put it upstairs. Perfect. And then we painted the house. We did all these things that he didn't want to do because he's 75. And it worked perfectly.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Anything?
While we're on financing, and Todd, this isn't your cup of tea, but it just is a reminder to the people that are on here. I know we had a meeting here a couple of weeks ago. People live in their house for 40 years. They own it free and clear. So it's about a 750 acreage. They want to replace it with scale down, but still they'll spend 750 all over again. They have almost no income, great credit, and their house is free and clear, and they're of course wanting to put a contingent offer on a 750 house in a hot market, not going to work. So, we traipsed them into the bank. Again, Gabe at Sherwood Bank, he's doing what Country Club always did for me for years. He just looks at it as a collateral loan. He goes, I could honestly give a shit how much money they make. So what they're going to do is give them the whole 750 to buy the new one so they can make an offer non-contingent, maybe get some concessions. They'll give them the whole 750 to pay for it. They'll collateralize it with the house they're buying and the house they have. So they got $1.5 million in collateral for a 750 loan. It's interest only. They'll either pay it monthly or every 6 months. Probably won't even need the loan for 6 months. Those things are out there. We just have to think differently. Instead, I could have let them take me down the path of let's try to find a house that'll take our contingency. No, we just pivoted really quickly, and they go in to sign their pre-approval, their docs, their loan app, and everything, which will give us a pre-approval letter on Monday.
Yeah, it's just a different way to look at it. Gabe at the Sherwood, they do some unique things that we can't touch. I send in people all the time that are outside of the scope because a bank can collateralize both properties, like Lonnie just said. And when you cross collateralize both properties, they have that gives them the warm and fuzzies that now they hold a lien against two houses, and they'll release it once the one is sold. And it just gives them the warm and fuzzy feeling of knowing that, hey, there's not a lot of risk here. That they've got two houses.
If the people choose to take maybe only 650 of the 750 they get when they sell their house and pay the loan down, that's fine too. You don't have to pay it totally off. Then they'll just put a 15 or 20 or 30 year AM on 100 grand or 150 or whatever you want. But again, it's very seldom can a bank make a loan that has zero risk. But as long as there's insurance on the house, there's zero risk because again, no one's going to get foreclosed on a 50% LTV. So it's safe. It's a collateral based loan. Again, my people were nice enough to tell me, hey, we make almost no money per month. We're on Social Security, all this stuff. Yet they really are actually reasonably high net worth people.
That's some great thinking outside the box.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, one more on that 203K, Todd. Can I use MHDC down payment money on a 203K, or is that getting a little too stacked?
Oh, I love that question. Let's stack as many things into the loan as we can.
Better than Tony's question.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you that MHDC has its own unique set of challenges with the down payment assist. I don't know that answer, so I would have to ask, but I'm going to guess no. But but I don't know because MHTC is so weird because, you know, they look back at the house for 10 years. And if the loan gets paid off, because the loan gets modified, I don't know the answer. Huh. I'll put it on the ask list, okay? Because I don't know everything.
You stumped
Okay.
me.
Yeah. Can you do a 203K, all these letters and numbers, 203K down, using an MHDC down payment assistance, DPA? Huh. I doubt it, but I'll ask. I'll ask.
Fair.
What
Possibility.
else, guys? I'm we you know, as a mortgage company, guys, we do just about everything in the marketplace. So when we step outside of things that we do and we use a Sherwood Bank or somebody like that, it basically, you know, we have contacts that are outside of us that have, I have no issue, no problems giving a loan to Gabe if it puts the deal together. Like Lonnie and I used to have good contacts at Country Club that are maybe no longer there. Gabe's the new country club for us. It's another source for us to be able to go, hey, what, you know, would this work? And I know Nanette has sent people there, Lonnie, myself, you know, and it doesn't have to be necessarily him because there are some other bankers that think outside the box. But you get a good seasoned banker, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and on those deals where there's two collateral, they run a full appraisal on the one they're buying. The other one, which is the one we'll be listing, they just do like a drive-by, which is like $100 or something. And then we provide the comps and all that stuff. So it's not like you're getting hit with two $500 appraisals either. So, but yeah, I'm guessing most small banks that are able to be a little bit shifty and do things, if they understand what you're asking for, and then they really look at it, my guess is it's something that they could be talked into pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean the risk level, you by having both properties collateralized, I mean they just reduce the risk dramatically, and that's why they do it. I mean they're there to facilitate a deal, and in the whole scheme of things, it gets closed pretty quickly, and they get, you know, they're getting paid monthly, and then their security gets sold down the road or whatever, the second house, they just release it. It's pretty easy.
We got about 7 minutes or 8 minutes left of our call. Does anyone have anything else that they want to talk about or have any questions or concerns that you're going through that you need your help with the team?
I wanted to add something if I could, Rusty, kind of along the lines of mindset. In the last week to 10 days, I think 2, 3, I'm thinking 4, probably more people and situations where we all get in these situations where everything we touch just turns to poo. It happens. Scott Swagger was over at my house last night for dinner. Okay, there's no more talented person than Scott Swagger in our industry. And he literally went through a little spell where, I mean, everything he touched just went to crap. Okay, so if it can happen to him, it can happen to all of us. And it's how we react to those things. Just know it's coming, tighten your gut, take the gut punch and move on. Because it can drag you down. I've seen it taking our agents down for months when they get into a little spell like that. They see deals canceling, and all of a sudden they pick up the phone, and the client's like, "Hey, we just think we're better. We need to go in a different direction." You know, that's happened to 2 or 3 of our agents this week that I've talked to. So yeah, it happens. It's just part of the business. Trust me. If you're touching enough people, this will happen. People are batshit crazy. Swear jar. But we just have to kind of get past that and know that's part of our industry. We can be one of the agents I was talking to is probably the most personable agent in our office. And they had somebody literally break up with them. And, you know, it just happens. It doesn't matter who you are. It's going to happen to you. So how we react to that is absolutely critical in this business. So, you know, if I can ever help anybody that's going through a little bumpy time, don't just stay at home. You know, get into the office, get on these calls, surround yourself by other people that are taking a black eye, and you'll have some commonality with us, and we'll help you get through that.
Yeah, that was powerful.
Yeah,
and like
thanks, Lonnie.
Yeah, we've like Tom. I mean, I just got fired before I even started with a client the other day. I was like, okay. Thank goodness for ChatGTP that helped me on my response because he wanted to fight commission and all the things. But we weren't a good match anyways. But guess what? We're in a market to me where there's so much opportunity right now. Like this is the time to focus and strike and all the things. So I appreciate it. And those moments make me more humble anyways.
Absolutely. And we also get in runs where everything we touch is golden. You know, I know when we were going through some of the things that happened in COVID, and I saw the numbers coming through the office, and we were all patting ourselves on the back, and we realized, quite frankly, it was the market driven more than us. But man, it was fun. You know, it was high five and 24/7, and it was a short time period, but it was kind of cool. So sometimes you get in those runs too, where hey, I didn't think there's any way I'm going to get this guy a house, and here we're going to closing, and we forget that. We just remember the setbacks, and that's what we focus on. So we just have to turn the freaking page. And Nanette, if she's on the call today, she's had a little bit of a bumpy week or two. So right here on my team, it happens. I know Teresa was going to get $1 million listing in Loch Lloyd. And the guy, after literally spending months with that family, they sold it to the neighbor. $1 million bucks, you know, there's $30,000. So it happens to everybody. But I just, you know, I don't get to see and touch and talk to as many people as I would like. There's 22 people or whatever on the call today. There should be 42. I do not understand that. But you know, when we're getting kicked, get around some other people. They'll pick you up by the bootstraps a little bit.
Well, that's what makes our environment amazing. And I go into a lot of different brokerages, and I just don't see what we have here in the other brokerages. So
we're doing something right. I mean, and you guys, we'll talk about it at team meeting, but we just set the record for the most gross commission ever in the month of April. In this freaking market, are you kidding me? This is the COVID market. This is just okay market. The number one GCI ever for our office in the month of April. These offices are not doing that. I'm telling you that right now. I mean, there's always a one-off, I guess, but so we must be doing something right. But I'm still greedy, and I think of how much better we can be if these calls have 42 instead of 22. If you know, just so many things we can do to just continue the momentum. But I'm a phone call away if I can help anybody.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd, for taking
Absolutely.
time out to educate us.
Yeah.
I think those types of things are really important for the tools in our belt there.
Anytime you guys have questions or whatever, just text or shoot me an email. If you want to come in and talk for 10 or 15 minutes, let's get it in the, you know, get it done. Because these are things, if we know going into something, we can maybe avoid a mistake. And, you know, maybe we put it, I guarantee it'll give you more closings at the end of the year just by understanding renovation. And maybe these two new products, the DSCR and the bank statement, as possibilities when you have that self-employed buyer, you know, that tells you up front, well, I don't show a lot of income, but I do real good, and they live a lifestyle like they make $250 a year. Maybe we can figure them out on a finance program. So I'm here for you guys whenever you need me. Okay.
Thank you.
It was great. Great call today.
Yeah.
Thank
Good
you.
call.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
Have
you.
Have a good day.
wonderful
Thank you, Rusty.
I sell something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Bye, guys.